invest in the latest machinery and technology. So I propose to double the limit on the capital allowances for short-life assets from 4 years to 8 years. And the allowance for the renovation of business premises in assisted areas, which was due to expire next year, we will extend for a further 5 years. Supporting the private sector across the whole of the United Kingdom is central to our economic ambitions. Savings in the Transport Department mean that we can also afford £200 million of additional investment in our regional railways. We will go ahead with the £85 million Ordsall Cord scheme linking Manchester's Victoria and Piccadilly stations, significantly reducing journey times between Liverpool and Leeds. And we can commit to, and I know, as we've just been hearing, many honourable members have been calling for this, to the Swindon to Kemble redoubling scheme. And this will complement our electrification of the Great Western Main Line to Wales. And we can find another £100 million to help councils repair the winter potholes on our roads. Mr. Deputy Speaker, helping all parts of our country succeed is also the purpose behind the new enterprise zones we launched today. Mr. Deputy Speaker, there have been reports that we will be able to fund 10 new enterprise zones. Today I confirm that instead we will fund 21 new enterprise zones. Businesses will get up to a 100% discount on rates, new superfast broadband and the potential to use enhanced capital allowances in zones where there is a strong focus on manufacturing. In return for radically reduced planning restrictions, we will let local authorities keep all business rate growth in their zone for a period of at least 25 years to spend on development priorities. The first 10 enterprise zones will be in urban areas of the highest need but also the highest potential. And they will be in Birmingham and Solihull, in Leeds, Liverpool, Greater Manchester, the Tees Valley, Tyneside, the Bristol area, the Black Country, Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire and Sheffield. Tomorrow, my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister will announce some of the specific locations of these new enterprise zones. And I confirm that a further zone will be located in London, where I've asked the Mayor to choose a suitable site. A further 10 enterprise zones will be announced in the summer. And I want local enterprise partnerships all over the country to come forward with proposals. Responsibilities are devolved in Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, so we will work with the administration so that they too can enjoy the benefits of this policy. In Northern Ireland, tomorrow the Treasury will publish a paper on how we help their private sector to grow, to deal with the unique issues posed by the Irish Republic's business tax regime. It considers the case for Northern Ireland having an even lower rate of corporation tax than the rest of the United Kingdom. I look forward to engaging with all parties there on the way forward. There is one other particular issue that affects a specific part of our country, and that is the very high water bills for customers in the southwest because of the geography there, particularly for those on lower incomes. So we will come forward with public money to help bring those bills down. Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me turn now to the opportunity presented by the green energy revolution and our determination to be the greenest government ever. We've already announced our ambitious renewable heat incentive and support for low-emission cars. And changes to the company car tax regime today increase that support. Our Green Deal to reduce the energy bills for homes will be introduced next year, and I confirm that we will act to incentivise and encourage its take-up. We are pioneering new carbon capture and storage technology with £1 billion already provided, and future projects will be funded out of general spending rather than a complex new levy. But we need to take 2 further bold steps if we're going to make the green energy revolution a reality. First, as I have long argued, investment in green energy will never be certain unless we bring some stability to the price of carbon. Today we become the first country in the world to introduce a carbon price floor for the power sector. The price will start at around £16 per tonne of carbon dioxide in 2013 and move to a target price of £30 per tonne in 2020. This will provide the incentive for billions of pounds of new investment in our dilapidated energy infrastructure. To ensure customers get a fair deal, we will closely follow developments in the energy sector in the light of the Ofgem review published on Monday At the same time, I am extending the climate change agreements to 2023 and increasing the climate change levy discount on electricity for those who sign up from 65% to 80% from April 2013. This will help our most energy-intensive industries. Green taxes will increase as a proportion of total tax revenues, as we promised. And the second bold step we take today is the creation of the Green Investment Bank to support low-carbon investment where the returns are too long-term or too risky for the market. We've already committed £1 billion to it. Today, I commit £2 billion more, funded from asset sales and underwritten by the Treasury. This will enable the Green Investment Bank to start operation 1 year earlier than planned in 2012. It will leverage an additional £15 billion of private sector investment in green projects over this Parliament. I can also confirm today that from 2015-16, and subject to our overall debt target being met, we will allow the Green Investment Bank to borrow and invest in a better future. So a Green Investment Bank with its resources trebled, a new carbon price floor, new capital allowances for manufacturing, new support for home builders and first-time buyers, an economy where growth happens across the country and across all sectors. That is our ambition. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, it leads me to this fourth ambition, to create a more educated workforce that is the most flexible in Europe. Britain's working-age population has lower skills than the populations of America, Germany and France. And that's probably the biggest problem facing our economy in the future. That's why we're undertaking far-reaching reform of our schools and universities and funding a pupil premium and additional early years support for our most disadvantaged children in poverty. That's why we commissioned Alison Wolf's impressive report. The government is committed to funding new university technical colleges, which will provide 11 to 19-year-olds with vocational training that is among the best in the world. The curriculum is being developed in close coordination with both local universities and leading employers, and I commend Ken Baker for getting these new colleges up and running in our manufacturing heartlands. To date, the government has announced that it will fund university technical colleges. I can tell the House we will provide funding to double that number to at least 24. We will also deal directly with the challenge of youth unemployment that has been on a steady rise for the last 7 years and give people direct contact with the workplace. Instead of 20,000 young people benefiting from our new work experience scheme, as we planned, we will increase that number fivefold to 100,000 places over the next 2 years. In Austria, Germany and Switzerland, around 1 in 4 employers offer apprenticeships. In England, fewer than 1 in 10 do. That's got to change. That's got to change after 10 years of a Labour government. Last year, my right honourable friend, the Schools Minister, published a skills strategy and confirmed the largest ever expansion in adult apprenticeships. Today, I'm funding another 40,000 apprenticeships for young unemployed people. There are currently only 1,500 higher-level apprenticeships across the whole of England. This budget provides for 10,000 more. That brings a total of 250,000 more apprenticeships over the next 4 years as a result of this government's policy. A government backing what's worked, what real training, secure jobs and more growth. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we shouldn't talk about those at the start of their working life without also talking about those who are coming to the end of their working lives and looking to retirement. I'm very proud that it was this coalition government that took the decision to relink the basic state pension to earnings and guarantee its increase through a triple lock. This would simply not have been affordable, as Adair Turner's report argued, without an increase in the state pension age. The state pension age is set to rise to 66 by 2020, and I can tell the House that we will now seek, hopefully with all-party support, a new, more automatic mechanism for future increases in the state pension age based on regular independent reviews of longevity. This is another major reform that will help Britain live within her means. We also need to make sure that our public service pensions are both fair to those who give their working lives to help others and fair to the taxpayers who have to fund them. Today we published the result of our consultation on the discount rate, which shows that a more appropriate rate would be inflation plus GDP growth. This reinforces our case for increasing the employee contributions by an average of 3%. Indeed, the new discount rate could be used to justify further contribution rises. As part of the wide reforms, I am not proposing to ask for more than the 3% average. John Hutton has now completed his final report, which looks at the pension benefit. And I'm sure members in all parts of this House will want to thank him for a very impressive piece of work. Or at least part of the House, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I confirm today that the government accepts Hutton's recommendations as a basis for consultation with public sector workers, unions and others. There should be no cherry-picking on either side. I believe this House should also recommend similar changes to the pensions of MPs. And we should also address the state pension system, which has become unbelievably complex. If people can't work out what they're going to get in retirement through the second state pension or how much will be clawed back by the means test, then they can't work out what they need to save. So the Pensions Minister, the Pension Secretary and I have worked together to develop options including a new single-tier pension. It would be simple, it would be based on contributions, it would be a flat rate so people know what to expect, and it would cost no more than the current system. We currently estimate this new single-tier state pension would be worth around £140 per week. It will not apply to current pensioners, and it will take years fully to come into effect. As with the other major reforms I've announced today to simplify our tax system, to improve our economic performance, to reform our public sector pensions, this government is doing the right thing for the long term. The most competitive corporate taxes, the best place to start up and run a business, an investing, exporting, greener, manufacturing, more balanced economy, a better educated workforce, a fairer pension system. These are our ambitions for Britain with the measures to match. Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me turn now to personal taxes and duties. And let me start by noting that a society should not be judged by the strength of its economy alone, but also by the compassion of its people. The Culture Secretary and I... Well, that's what I happen to think, at least. Anyway, the Culture Secretary and I have been working on a series of substantial reforms that will support giving, from the largest donations to the coins collected in the charity bucket. So first, we will dramatically simplify the administration of gift aid. Instead of asking charities to submit a written record of every donation made, we will, by 2013, pay for a much easier online system. Second, we will encourage wealthy people in our society to give even more. The gift aid benefits limits will be increased from £500 to £2,500 so that charities and museums can say thank you properly. We will consult in the coming year on how to encourage the donations of preeminent works of art and historical objects to our nation in return for a tax deduction. And we will introduce from April next year this major change to our inheritance tax system. If you leave 10% or more of your estate to charity, then the government will take 10% off your inheritance tax rate. Let's be clear. No beneficiaries will be better off as a result of this policy, just the charities, to the tune of £300 million. I want to make giving 10% of a legacy to charity the new norm in our country. The third reform we make to the charitable taxes is not about the biggest donations, but the smallest. We will introduce, Mr. Deputy Speaker, a new scheme where gift aid can be claimed on small donations up to a total of £5,000 a year per charity without the need for donors to fill in any forms at all. That means gift aid on the contents of the collecting tin and the street bucket. 100,000 charities will benefit to the tune of £240 million. And together these represent the most radical and most generous reforms to charitable giving for more than 20 years. Do the right thing for a charity and the government will do the right thing for you. It's a big help for the big society. But Mr. Deputy Speaker, our charity does not extend to those in our society who seek to avoid paying their fair share of taxes. Tax avoidance and evasion mean that we